Hi everyone, my name is Sky Rumpel, and I'm a marketer here at Pleasureway Industries. I've been with Pleasureway over the past year, and I absolutely love it so far. I've had the pleasure of taking a 2025 Ontour 2.2 from the Prairies out to the Canadian Rocky Mountains, and it's only been our second day, and it's been absolutely wonderful so far. As you can see, Jasper has obviously been devastated by the forest fires. But in some other places, you can't even tell that anything had happened. So here we are, staying at Whistler's Campground in Jasper, Alberta. The campground is beautiful and spacious, although it does lack the privacy due to the fires. So to start our day, I've just decided to start cleaning up the van, so that includes taking out all of the garbage and the recycling so that we don't have to worry about doing that after our long day on the road. The next step is to secure all loose items. So we like leaving the bed down permanently all the time. It's just super easy for us to get in bed after a long day, and it also works great as storage for some pretty heavy items that don't risk falling off. So once I secured everything and rolled up all the shades, I made sure that the campsite was perfectly clean, as littering is a massive no-no. I grabbed my sunglasses and we said goodbye to the campground and we headed into the town of Jasper. We just planned to grab a quick coffee and little treat on our way out to hit the road, but I first had to do my makeup. One thing you should know about me is I love my sleep, so even if that means I have to get ready on the road, that's okay, because in the Ontour 2.2, the cab is so spacious with so much storage, it makes things so easy for me to quickly apply something and then put it away. So once we finished that, we were getting close to the town of Jasper. Jasper is quite a cute little town. If you have been to both Jasper and Banff, you will see that Jasper is quite small and it's honestly adorable. It's just a little town. So we left our Ontour and we headed into the Bear's Paw Bakery. They had a huge variety of pastries, desserts, breakfast rolls, yogurt parfaits, and obviously every coffee that you could imagine. So I got a nice chai tea latte, my boyfriend got this ginormous monster cookie, and I also got a cinnamon bun. And now we are officially on the road out of Jasper. But of course, we hit a train. So I thought, what better time than the present to try my cinnamon bun? And you guys, it was probably the best cinnamon bun I had ever tasted before. The apple crumble, it looked so promising. I had high hopes, but like I said, I will not lie to you guys, it wasn't that great. Unfortunately, I probably would not recommend it. So here we are. The plan for today is we are heading to Banff. We hope to stop at Lake Louise and as many pit stops on the way as we can. We didn't leave until later, it was around 11, so it might cut our time a little bit short on the parkway, but we're gonna stop at the most places that we can. So this was the first pit stop that we stopped at, and it was absolutely stunning. As two people coming from the Prairies, we practically had to pick our jaws up from the ground at every given moment. It was something that we had never seen before, and we can't even imagine what the view would look like if there was trees. So we took some time here and then continued on our way. So the Icefields Parkway is also known as Highway 93 North, and it's a 144-mile or 232-kilometer drive that connects Jasper and Banff. So the drive itself takes around 3 hours if you do it straight without stopping anywhere. However, they do recommend that if you would like to stop at all pit stops, the drive would take you about 2 full days. Based on the time that we had this day, this drive took us about 5.5 hours. We tried to stop everywhere we could for as long as we could, but we were honestly quite limited and we did not fully know what to expect with this parkway. It definitely blew our expectations out of the water. So here I am with the Ontour before we head off to the next pit stop, and this was my absolute favorite one. It was right by the glaciers and it was absolutely stunning. Then we finally made it to Lake Louise with the beautiful Fairmont, and we were so excited. I have not been to Lake Louise, neither of us had, in about 10 years, so we honestly almost forgot what it had looked like. So we decided to change quickly to get ready for our hike and bring a little picnic for the way, since we did not have time to stop and grab something on the way to Lake Louise. So I made 2 turkey sandwiches for my boyfriend with cheese because that is his favorite. And then I made a ham sandwich for myself. While I was getting us all ready for the hike, he was putting some things away and rolling down the blinds. We just like to do this not only for privacy reasons, but also for shade. It is essential when you park for a long time someplace hot. You want to try and keep the van as cool as you can without running any of the systems. So here we took the time to decide what trail would best suit us for the time we had, as the last thing we wanted to do would be hiking down an unfamiliar mountain in the dark. So we decided to go with the Lake Agnes Trail, as it said it would take about 2 to 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big hiker, and I honestly found this pretty challenging. It is quite steep on the way up, but don't worry, it levels out at times, but there definitely is no downhill ahead on this hike until you are on the way downhill. So this was the first stop on the hike, and it's called Mirror Lake. It's so close to the top. If you make it to Mirror Lake, I really encourage you to do the 800-meter push to Lake Agnes, because it is truly jaw-dropping. They have waterfalls, a beautiful lake with the bluest water. It honestly reminded me of something out of Switzerland. They also have a beautiful and cute little cafe that has all sorts of refreshments and any sort of snack items to fuel you up on your way down. So here we just continued along this little path. We wanted to find a secluded area for the picnic, and of course I had to put my hand in the water. It was quite cold, which is unsurprising, but I will say it was quite refreshing. So the way up on the hike took us about 2.5 hours, probably closer to 3. The way down, however, only took us about 45 minutes, which truly wasn't bad. The parking at Lake Louise was honestly not as busy as we thought, and with our Class B we can fit into any parking spot, so that made things a lot easier for us. We didn't have to go looking for oversized parking. So now we're heading back to Banff, and we're so excited to be back. We visited this town a couple years ago, and there's just so much to do that you can't cover it in even a few days, not even a few trips. So we're so excited to be back. We headed straight to the town to run a couple errands, and then we headed back to our campsite at Tunnel Mountain, Village 1. I will have to say this campground was beyond my expectations. It did not look super promising on the website. However, it is so spacious and private, and the campsites are so well taken care of. We ended the night off by watching a movie and just getting ready for bed after a long day. Thanks so much for following along.